Well, thank you all for coming this morning. This is is that too loud? Is that too loud? Okay. Thank you all for coming. This is our third town hall of the quarter. Last quarter we specifically talked about the town hall, so I have a little catch-up work today. It's probably no secret that I really like doing town halls because I like to come in here and tell you what I've been up to. Now, I've been up to a lot of other things too, because there's a lot going on at the university in academic affairs and student affairs and IT and advancement, you name it. There's things going on, but I feel like I need to tell you what I've been doing. You pay me a good wage to do this, so I feel a necessity to tell you. It's also no secret probably that I love Tacoma, I love our campus, and I love our state. I even love Oregon. And I like the other states that bump up against us. So I take a lot of pictures when I'm out and about, so I thought I would bless you with one of these pictures. It's one of the favorite pictures I've taken. Does anybody know what that is? It's a lake. There you go. Yeah, this was on a beautiful fall day. It's over by Snoqualmie. That's, if you ever watched Twin Peaks, we're a few more miles away, though, down the road, but those are where the Twin Peaks are over by Snoqualmie. Beautiful fall day. I also have a habit of looking out the windows around here. I like our window views from various locations. And when I heat my coffee up in this morning, which I did this morning before I came over, I wander out of the little break room into the Don Lucian room to see what's going on outside. And this particular morning, there was not one soul. Look at this. Usually when I look out there, there's people coming and going, there's cars. There wasn't a soul there, but our mountain was out that morning, looking over the horizon, so I took this picture. So anyway, there you go. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to cover things since the last town hall. I'll update you on things that I've been up to. We're going to talk a little bit about campus-wide initiatives, not very much about that, but a little bit. We're going to talk about the campaign update, which won't take long, but it's pretty exciting. We're going to talk about our legislative request. And I'm going to camp out in that for a few minutes because that's very important to our campus. It's an important initiative for this year. Then I'm going to talk a little bit about the budget, but not much because I always talk about the budget. I feel like I should shut up about the budget some days, but I'll talk a little bit about the budget. It is important. I'm going to talk a little bit about future enrollment growth. And then I'm going to talk about what goes along with that is preparing for future enrollment growth, our campus infrastructure and things. And then I'm going to remind you of a few upcoming events, and then we'll have time for questions. So everybody ready? You're shaking your head. Everybody's ready. Okay, let's go. Okay, first of all, I wanted to tell you another thing I like about this place is the boss. You know, I don't think she cares if I call her the boss. She is the boss. But at this point in time, I think the University of Washington is blessed with its senior leadership. We have a fantastic president. I don't know anybody who doesn't like our president. I've never worked at a place where people didn't like who was in charge. I'm sure there are. Don't raise your hand if you do, because we don't want to know. But I really like our president. I like her attitude. And if you're a student here, a faculty here, or a staff here, I think you're really benefited by the president we have. Likewise, we hired a new provost this summer. And he started on July 1st. His name is Mark Richards. And this is him. And this kind of tells you about the personality. So this is the provost retreats. And I've been to some formal provost retreats. I've probably caused some formal provost retreats. But look at them. She wore that hat the entire retreat. I think she was being a witch, a nice witch. And he was being a dinosaur. This was October 31st, was the provost retreat this year. But anyway, if you haven't seen her address, how many watched her address? Several of you did? The rest of you need to watch that. It's really good. It's not exciting this time, but it's very interesting. She really marks out the UW's financial situation in a way that we all lay people can understand it. It's really, really good. It's still online. You should go watch that. And I just had time to watch this. Anybody watch the provost welcome thing? Oh, you should go watch it. It is so interesting. He goes back to his days as a researcher, which was until just last year, and talks about why the dinosaurs are extinct, and not in jest. I mean, he really has a theory for why they're extinct and explains it all. It's tremendously interesting. So you should go watch that. It's still online too. I think it's October 30th was his address. But we're going to be blessed with them visiting campus. The provost is coming January 9th. There's an opportunity for everybody to see him. Staff Association is meeting with him. The ASUWT is, the Faculty Executive Council, administrative team. Everybody has a chance to see him. He'll be here all afternoon. And we're going to drive him around the greater campus area. And then we're taking him for dinner at my house. And I'm having a lot of community members come and talk to him about what it means to be a campus here in the Tacoma community. Likewise, the president's coming. Unfortunately, her schedule is packed with other things that day. She's going to do a Rotary luncheon, so if you're a Rotary member or want to buy a ticket that day, you can go hear her address at the Rotary. She's also doing an editorial board at the TNT, and then she'll come over to campus for about 30 minutes, rest, and then we'll take her over to the Swiss. Thomas and crew are organizing an alumni event for that night, which I think might be open. I don't know for sure if it's an open event or not. I got to be careful saying that, or the Swiss will be completely full with you guys, and none of our alumni will be in there. So anyway, great leaders. Also, I didn't know how many of you know about the South Sound Together. How many of you know South Sound Together? Okay, a lot of you do, more than I thought. So I was telling my administrative team a little bit more about South Sound Together recently, and I thought I should tell you. This is a recent South Sound Together meeting where we launched, listen to me say we, but it is we launched the new bus, the Pierce Transit bus with the South Sound Proud logo on the side. This committee, which UW-Tacoma is part of, is responsible for this new South Sound Proud advertising campaign. It was called a guerrilla campaign. And this particular meeting was held at the Tacoma Rail, which is actually really cool too. We have our own railroad inside Tacoma, primarily for hauling containers around down at the port, but it's an entire railroad. It goes up and down the corridor. I think it goes all the way to Olympia, but we have our own railroad, so we learned about that. But we launched this bus. South Sound Together is a conglomeration of about 25 organizations. It does cost. We put in $20,000 to $25,000 each year. It depends on how many organizations are part of it. It started the month I came. I came to the very first meeting in March 2015, and all this money goes to a pot in the middle of the table, so to speak. We don't physically put the money on the table, but we have this pot of money, and the group works together to figure out things that they can do to make the South Sound a better place to live, work, learn, play, and all that. So we've got way more than our share. 2 of our faculty have submitted grants, one for $100K and one for $40K, so we've gotten like 1.5 times the money we've put in back. It's a wonderful organization, and we are a founding member, and as long as I'm Chancellor, I can't imagine not being a member of this organization. It does all kinds of things. I've been chairing a small subcommittee that's working to put a monument sign off of one of the interchanges. When you come down the hill on 5, and you know you're getting ready to come to the famous turn where the traffic stops, but most people from the north and south of us don't know how beautiful Tacoma is. They just see the casinos and all the signs out there. But we're working to put a monument that has our logo and says welcome to the South Sound or South Sound Proud on it. And we have a partner now, the City of Fife is working with us, and we've just launched a RFQ, I think. It goes out to artists who want to propose how the monument would look. So someday soon, within a year maybe, when you come around that curve, you'll see this beautiful welcome to the South Sound or South Sound Proud, all because of this group that you are a member of. So also this group this year has made a couple of really high quality videos. In fact, they've made about 10, and they're on the website, and you can use them no matter what your organization is. You can use these as people from this community if you need to use a video for something. So I thought I would show you just a couple of those short videos this morning, okay? So could we have the first video maybe? Not maybe, let's have that first video.
This is the foothills, the gateway cities, the cities of destiny, where authenticity is earned with calluses and sore backs, where attitude is derived as much from art galleries and universities as from beer halls and fairgrounds. This is waterfront, woods and mountains. This is living in historic homes and fishing from glacier-fed rivers. We've got beaches full of life and heads full of ideas. We've got our own innovators, chefs, designers, writers, artists, teachers, doctors, scientists, and makers. Why are we confident? Because we've been knocked down before. So what? We're relentless. We rise up, brush off, and get the job done. Our legacy is garage rock, fertile soil, and farm to table, the incubators of small business and the home of global commerce. We're not waiting for our destiny to be handed to us. We've got no time to stand still, so we run at our own pace, and we march to our own beat. We know we've got passion, because this is a soulful place, a sacred place, an ancient place. From where we sit, we can look out a single window and see the connected waters of the Puget Sound and the misty top of Mount Rainier. That's 14,411 feet of perspective. It humbles us, but not too much. We still know we're something special. We are the South Sound, and we are South Sound proud.
So, what do you think? Yeah. It makes you want to live here. So if you're trying to recruit somebody to your organization or to campus, I encourage you to turn them on to these videos. Let me show you one more. I think it's about the same length. This one is on how hard-working we are here. I think that's a good one to show people that are going to come to work here. But there's about 12 of these. You'll notice some of the video footage is the same, and that makes sense. If you're going to go to that much expense to make some of this video, you use it for several of these videos. So let's show one more, and then we'll get back on.
In the South Sound,
hardworking.
we get up early. We go home tired. We're not just visionaries, we're makers, hands-on and hardworking, turning our wealth of raw materials into world-class products. We work for ourselves, for our families, for our communities, and for our future. We harvest from the land and sea. We transform workers into leaders. We package the local and ship it around the globe. We design and manufacture. We build and rebuild. We are soldiers, chefs, surgeons, and artists. We are transformers. Our South Sound heritage has always been one of hard work. And our future, well, that depends on hard work too. From homegrown businesses to household names. From what we're known for to what we dream of. From the artistic to the industrial, the delicious to the durable, the life-saving to the life-changing. We raise our profile. We shine a light on our cities in the shadow of the mountain. We're ready, so let's roll up our sleeves and get to work.
Okay, well, thank you for watching those with me. So again, those are available to any of you. You can download them from that site. So let's get on with the presentation. And after watching those, I thought, I love our port too. This is actually from my back porch. And I heard that the largest ship ever that had been into Commencement Bay was in Commencement Bay, and I was so aggravated that I missed it. It was on like November 1st. So I heard it was leaving sometime Saturday, so I got up early, had my coffee, and I was glued to the back window, and lo and behold, it came out. It was really a gray morning, but this is it. It's a 13,800 TEU class ship. The largest ones before that were this size that just happened to be floating in while this one was going out. These are a measly little 9,000 container ships. And you can see how it dwarfs this bulk carrier. The bulk carriers are the ones that come to that wheat loading facility, and there's usually 2 or 3 of those sitting there waiting their turn. But this visited us, and we'll have opportunities for many more of those, because did anybody see this come in March? Wasn't that amazing? The captain of that ship floated that boat, which was remodeled to hold those cranes all the way from Hong Kong, and floated over here to put those new 4 cranes in our port so that we could handle these big ships. So you'll see more of these big ships. That's not a big ship over there. That's one of the old, small 9,000 container ships. But those cranes were shown in that video of the South Sound Together. So also, while I was talking about the port, I had the opportunity about 2 weeks ago to go over to Tote. Tote is a proud sponsor of UW-Tacoma. They've sponsored scholarships before. They're a great company in our town. And the mayor, Mayor Woodward's, asked me to be on her business advisory board. Well, I'm not a business person, but I think I'm on there because she needed an educational person. So we've had our second meeting, and the first meeting was in her office, and the rest of the meetings are going to be at the various people's facilities on her advisory board. So they're going to come here next November, and we got to, wine and dine them. Well, probably not wine them because it's first thing in the morning, but we got to show them around campus. But we were at Tote 2 weeks ago, and I was, salivating. Being out at Tote. It's on the far waterway, the Blair waterway, and there's no crane over there. Tote has 2 ships that are called ro-ros. Roll it on and roll it off. So they roll the cargo on and roll it back off. They don't use the cranes. But Tote, this amazed me. 80% of all goods that go to Alaska come from right here in Tacoma. 80%. So that morning, the ship was in. They have 2 ships. They have the Midnight Sun and the North Star. I think this was the Midnight Sun sitting there. And the reason it's blurry is I was taking it out the van window. We drove around in the van because it was pouring down rain this morning. But they have 2 ships. It takes 66 hours to get up to Alaska and then 66 hours, obviously, to come back. And they do that twice a week. These ships hold 650 cargo containers inside. They don't set up on top. And every ship that leaves, they take about 250 vehicles to Alaska. So all the I just figured they drove vehicles up there, but no, they drive them to Tacoma Port. They put them on this. So when you go to the parking lot any given week, there's Mercedes, there's Volkswagens, there's Ford trucks, there's 2 or 3 tractors, but all the videos, about 500 vehicles, go up to Alaska on these ships too. It was pretty amazing. But anyway, while we were sitting there, driving through, looking at the loading dock, somebody said, "Can we go on that boat?" And the van driver just drove us right up on the boat, and we drove through it. It's like a giant parking garage. This boat had been there for several hours, and they do some quick maintenance on the ships before they start loading it. And they told us that all the loading happens in the last 6 hours or so, because the stuff needs to be fresh. So they bring eggs, they bring frozen food, they bring vegetables. About 40% of the material that goes on the ship is in refrigerated containers. Am I the only one that's a nerd about this stuff? Do you guys like this? Okay, good. All right, so if you like boats, surely you like airplanes. So let's talk about airplanes for a second. Now, I don't like to brag, but I got to brag about this. Actually, I do like to brag about our school. But in November, I was brought into the Honorary Commander Corps at JBLM. I'm very honored to do that. I have no association with the military. My wife is an Air Force veteran, but I've never been in the military. My father was, so it was a big honor to me. I do serve as the JBLM liaison for UW because of our campus proximity. So I do go to a lot of activities there. Whenever they have a change of command, I always go to those. Roz and Mike Work help staff all those things. So we're really engaged. But I got the privilege of being Honorary Commander, and I got paired with this young man who has a PhD in history from Duke, by the way. He's a really interesting young man. But this is me getting my induction into the officer corps. But he is commander of the 62nd Airlift Wing. This, I think, right here. Those airplanes that fly over our town all the time, 1/5 of all those airplanes in the whole United States are here under his command. Also, the reserve unit uses them on the weekends because they're a very valuable resource. So he's in charge of that. So they let me take the plane for a little short fly around. This is us driving out of the hangar, getting ready to taxi. If you believe this, you're gullible. This is the size of the plane. These things were so big. They're almost as big as that ship. To give you an idea of the inside, there's Michael Work, who's, probably 6'5". Yeah, and this is my wife, and this is Colonel Scoville Curran. But you can see this is only half of the airplane. The other half is behind us. They drive all the things on there. So I was mesmerized. But really, you got to see the size of this at the football game, at the Stanford football game. These guys in the reserve unit flew the plane over the stadium, about 100 feet off the stadium, and they had it on video that made it look larger than life as it was coming towards the stadium. So it was really, really cool. And of course, we won the game after that show of force. The other team was shaking in its boots. Also, while we're talking about the military, that all happened because it was Veterans Week. There were a lot of activities. And for the first time ever, the UW Veteran Award winner was a UW Tacoma graduate. And she was here on our campus. Hopefully some of you saw Priscilla Patty Taylor. She did a great presentation in Tioga. She was featured at halftime. She was featured at several events in Seattle as well. So it was a really exciting week for UW Tacoma. Also, since we've talked, an election has happened, and I was really proud to be part of what our campus does when it's election time. There's all kinds of events that our different departments host, either here or other places. This one happens to be at the Asia Pacific Cultural Center, down a little south of here. But these are 3 congressional districts races that were being held, so obviously this was before November, was it 6th, the election, or 7th somewhere? This was about a week or a week and a half before that. But it was sponsored by us and the League of Women Voters and a couple of other organizations. So it was a great forum. The incumbents all won, Derek Kilmer, Adam Smith, and Denny Heck, who are our primary representatives around here, all staved off their challengers. But it was a great one. Also, right here on this stage, we had the prosecutors forum and a couple of judge races. Very, very exciting. Those races are all done. Lizanne, Carl, and Mary were the winners. I guess you wanted to have the second name in the alphabet was key. But one cool thing about this one, this was the first event on our campus sponsored by our new Legal Pathways initiative. Exciting inaugural event for them. They sponsored it, of course, with their other colleagues from politics, philosophy, and public affairs, and the Association of what is AAU? American Association of University Women. Thank you, John. And the League of Women Voters and Pi Beta Pi. So great event. I'm going to tell you a little bit about our Legal Pathways development, I think next. No, not quite next, but soon. Another great event we had in our civic duty on campus was a civility tour that Congressman Kilmer had with Dave Newhouse. So we all know Derek as a Democrat and Newhouse as a Republican. You can look at them smiling. They're kind of cutting up. They had a great event, and I think this was good for our students. It was good for anybody that went to that to talk about what they can do together in D.C. to move our country forward. I was really proud to host that on campus. So I do want to talk about the Legal Pathways Initiative a little bit because it's kind of taken off as we speak. So you know we got the funding for that in July. So we didn't know, though, we're going to get the funding until May or June. So then you got to kind of react quickly. So we started taking form maybe in August or so when people started getting back. And we have 2 co-interim directors of this. And that's Sarah Hampson and Elizabeth Bruce. I don't see either one. Is Sarah in here? No, I don't see either one here. But they've taken the lead on this and done a fantastic job moving this program forward. Today, we are going to launch the search. We place this initiative, since it's not one particular school or one particular department, we place the initiative at the university level under our new Office of Community Engagement led by Dr. Medeiros. And later today, in fact, later this morning, he will charge the search committee that is searching for the permanent director of this initiative. And it's been advertised for 2 or 3 or 4 weeks already, and we're going to start that search and hopefully have a permanent person in place sometime in the winter or maybe early spring. As I said, they've sponsored several events. They are in the process of putting together several committees. They put together a search committee. They are putting together a community advisory board. I think they're in the final stages of putting together a faculty advisory board. They're putting together a futures committee that will look at the future law school. Remember, this is keeping the momentum going so that someday when the time is right, we can launch a law school project at UW Tacoma. So that's going to be the work of the Futures Committee. A lot of things going on. 2 big events that I know of. One in January where we're going to talk to the legal community about these developments that I'm talking about right now. And then there's going to be another event in, I think, March. That's going to be more academic in nature, more related to our legal community. And then obviously there are a lot of things going on that have to do with our students who have aspirations of going into legal careers. There's study for the exam, there's courses, there's 2 new courses on the books about street law and urban debate, there's pre-law advising being offered, all kinds of things. So this idea that came from our community really has turned into something big for our campus and a new opportunity, a new set of opportunities for our students who have aspirations of going to law school or being in some other kind of legal-related work. So that's really exciting. Also, I wanted to update you. I don't want to go over the details of this because I've told you about it before, but the Carnegie application continues to move forward. We're to a point right now where we've received the draft reports from the 5 working groups, and there's about 30 people that worked on these 5 working groups, and those reports were initially drafted, looked at, revised, feedback was given to them, they went back and did a second draft. So those 5 drafts have been received by the leadership group now, and the leadership group has assigned a first reader and a second reader to these, somebody that was not on that particular work group, an outside person to read those. So the first reads were all done last week, and these 5 reports are in the hands of the second readers right now. And by the end of the week, or maybe by Monday, the second readers will be finished, and we'll give those back to the leadership group. The leadership group is myself and Bonnie and Dr. Medeiros and Lisa Azazaki, and we will take the information that the first and second readers gave us, the critiques, try to fix those or respond to those critiques, and then we have a professional editor that's going to work on the result. We'll have some holes to fill in, and that thing should be ready, right, Dr. Medeiros, by April 15th to go in. Any questions about that? It's moving forward. It's been a lot of work. You were all right when you said it would be a lot of work. You were dead right. It's been a whole lot of work, but it's going to be worth it. I also wanted to tell you about the Federal Way partnership. It continues to move forward. Unfortunately, it's moving forward at a little bit slower pace right now because of the location. And I have to thank Mike Wark, who was very involved with this. Ali was very involved with it. And now Lisa Reeves has been kind of taking the lead in educational outreach. So a lot of different people have helped move this forward. But where we ended up, this is 5. This is the 320 exit. There's a big, I don't know what kind of building. There's a large building here, about 6 stories tall. Is there a Denny's right there? What's across the street? The Ram? Okay, so the Ram is across the street. If you go down, you get to the big shopping center. So you kind of understanding where this is? I don't get off this exit very much. I don't like to go through Federal Way because you get tickets without even being pulled over. You get tickets by photos. Yeah, so I stay out of there. Anyway, I might have to learn to slow down, though, because I need to go to our new location. So the original idea, which is still in play, this part of town is being developed as a town center. There's a new performing arts building right here. There's a park there. And the mayor, the current mayor of Federal Way, wants to have a new community building right down here, a beautiful state-of-the-art building. The finances aren't there yet, but that's the hope in the future. So our presence would be inside that building. So therefore, we were looking for a site so people would get used to going to where it's going to be, permanently from now on. So we found this opening in this hillside plaza. It's like a C-shaped, it's kind of like a strip mall, but it's nice. It's a C-shaped, and we're going to have the center portion with Highline College. It's going to be remodeled and ready. It's going to have a couple classrooms, a front desk area, some waiting area, a conference room, and a few offices, probably a kitchen where they make their coffee, all those kinds of things. Be very nice. It'll be branded Highline and UW-Tacoma. But we aren't in charge. Highline has the money for this, so they had to use their state enterprise system, which deals with, acquisitions, leases, and all that. So that's where it's at right now. It's in the state community college system being evaluated, the lease agreement. So we hoped to get in there in January. It's not going to happen. Hopefully we'll be in there April. Yeah. Along with that, though, the money is here. So the searches are moving forward. There are 3 positions being searched. Highline is going to have 2 of those positions, the kind of the manager of the place, and I think an advisor. UW-Tacoma, though, will have an advisor / office person that will be a catch-all person, because it'll be our only person on site there. That search is nearing completion as we speak. So it'll be staffed, but we can't get in there yet. So exit 143 is where this all is. So if you have time someday, get off, see where the new UW will be. Okay, the pie party. This is important. I was worried about the pie party because Professor Allen retired, and he was kind of the person of the pie party. But the pie party happened. It was a great success. Had wonderful pies. You've all read about the winners, so I won't delve on this, but it was a great day. Okay, I got to talk about football. I'm sorry, but I got to talk about football. You all know this, but it's fun to go back over it. Okay, it's fun for me to go back over it. So last time we had a town hall, remember the Ducks had just beat us, and I was all depressed. I could barely get through the town hall. Remember that? We'd started off number 7. We had dropped to 15. And I was encouraging us to go beat Colorado. We did. We didn't beat them very convincingly, but look what happened the next week. We lost to Cal, and we dropped out of the rankings, and I was depressed for a week. But then we got back to business. Stanford, Oregon State, and then the Apple Cup, and then the championship against Utah. We won those 4, not convincingly, but kind of convincingly, so we got invited to the Rose Bowl. So football is a great success. I think we're rated number 9 right now. But the little bump in the road is Ohio State. So we play Ohio State on January 1st. So I'll be there. I'm excited about that. So thank you for allowing me to talk about football. Okay, while we're talking about football, one little personal note. This is my grandson, Ari Marcus. So they named him a little bit after Grandpa. Marcus, it's close enough. He got an opportunity to go to his first UW event, so I dressed him all up. I got him a nice UW shirt, a UW hat. You can't see it very well in the shadow, but he was infatuated with his W. He didn't like Dubs so much. You can kind of see the frown on his face. He did like Harry. Look at him smiling, though. He thought Harry was really cool. He hated the band. The band came in. He was scared to death of the band, but he really enjoyed the football game, and all weekend long, this was Saturday, I had him the rest of the weekend. We were making W's. We were cutting them out of paper. We were drawing W's. He loves W's now. And guess what happened? So I took him to the airport Sunday night, him and his dad. Where's his dad? Well, I didn't take a picture of his dad. That's my son. I didn't take a picture of him. But I got my grandson. But anyway, look what happened to him Sunday night when I took him to the airport. He got the UW plane to fly back to Montana. He thought it was for him. He's going to be 4 in January, so he's still talking about that plane. And he flew here on the Cougs plane. I don't know how that happened, but he flew from Billings, Montana on the Cougs plane, and he thought it was a monster. Because you know they have that Coug face that they make out of the WSU. He thought it was a monster. I thought, it is. That's why I told him. It is a monster. Okay. Anyway, campaign update. This is really cool. Remember what we said last time, October 15th? We stretched the campaign to 55. I don't know what you all thought about that, if you were worried about that. I wasn't worried about it, and I'm still not worried about it, because since October, we've raised another $1 million. I put the figure up there. It was 47.4 or something in October. We're already at 48.5 almost. So that continues to gain momentum, and we are going to get to 55, maybe more. Legislative update. This is important. So we put in your seats a quick overview of what we're asking the legislature to do. So we need to deputize all of you, because you all live different places, so you all have a different legislator. We started yesterday at the Pierce County Coordinating Council. We had an opportunity to talk to 8 or so legislators. Last night I had an opportunity to invite several of the new legislators that were elected to our campus, and they're going to come soon. And then this Thursday night we're going to have an event on our campus in the Don Lucian Room to update the legislators on what our needs are. So there's several big things. The first big thing involves all of you. So first, the faculty. You remember last time we only got 1/3 of the compensation money that the other four-year state institutions got 1/2. And for an institution as big as UW, that's a lot of money. That was $6 million. And we complained, and we brought that to their attention, and they gave us the $6 million one time, though. Well, that doesn't do any good because we can't take raises back from any of you. I can imagine me trying to take a raise back from you, or a raise back from Jill or something like that. That wouldn't work good. So we need, or wouldn't work well, excuse me. We need that money funded permanently. So that's one of the UW's major ask. And the other part of the major ask is please give us additional compensation for faculty, staff, and our, all of our clerical staff, our union staff, all the collective bargaining units, and give us permanently at least 1/2. We can't keep taking this out of tuition because you've cut tuition. So those are the major asks for the UW as a whole. And then on our campus specifically, we have asked for $1.83 million the first biennium to launch ME, mechanical engineering, and then a year later, civil engineering. And then grow those to, I believe, steady state around 90 graduates a year from those two programs. So that's exciting. I've talked to the Dean of Engineering, Michael Bragg at Seattle, and he is going to help lobby for that. He's retiring in July. So we have all hands on deck advocating for this. And then, of course, space. We're going to talk about space in the next slide or two. And we really need the money for that building. So we're asking for $4 million in the first biennium, this biennium coming up, and then $36 million in the second biennium. And then we always ask for our soil groundwater remediation, which is very useful to our campus. Okay, so I want to talk about our financial picture. I've just got this one slide, and this text went to all the budget managers on campus, so I'm not going to read it, but essentially where we are, I've shown you several times, is we're kind of steady state. We need the state to step up to these things we're asking for. If they step up, we'll have a little breathing room. But you can never depend on that, so if the state doesn't step up and we're left with just 3% enrollment gain, that's a lot of enrollment gain, but if that's the only source of new income, then we have to maintain kind of steady state this coming year. So all the budget managers are being told this, but also asking for what would be your priorities if the state steps up and loosens up on some of the compensation money and those kinds of things. Also, we can consider budget requests for reallocations. We can do those kinds of things, or if philanthropy funds something, we can consider those. So anyway, that's what's going on with the budget. I want to talk a little bit about growth, enrollment growth. Carl, I think I saw Carl come in. He does there he is, hiding in the back. He does a great job when he presents to the Board of Regents. I'm always so proud of our enrollment report that we give to the regions. We get to give that right alongside when Seattle does theirs and when Bothell does theirs. Ours is always fantastic. So I borrowed some of his slides. If you look at the 5-year, which I usually present, we're at 53.75 is where we ended up this year. That's a 3.7% growth rate. Nice and steady. If you just took that forward, let's say hypothetically you just said, let's assume a 3.7. I think that's about what we do for our budget projections. It would look like this over the next 3 years. So even if we don't do anything, and if we continue to increase the college going rate in the South Sound, we're going to have 6,000 students in 2021. Where are we going to put them? Well, we got to work on that. But I think it's time for us to consider other things as well. And I'll talk about this in the next couple slides. Here is the 5-year, so you take those same 5 years and look at what our applications have done. See this number right here? That's the Washington residence application. So as we've increased the college going rate in the South Sound, those numbers, people that are ready to come to UW-Tacoma, is going up. Our non-residents, we've not made a strategy, so it's kind of held constant this past couple years, actually went down significantly this year, and our internationals at the top. That's the applications, but they don't all come, and they all don't get admitted. So if you look at the admits, it usually follows, if you have more applications, you have more opportunity to admit, if you keep your standards the same. So again, our admits have gone up. For state students, they have not for out-of-state, and they have not for international. And then if you look at who actually comes, well, this has gone up sharply, and now in our entering class, this number is more than half of the transfer number. And the transfer number, you'll see in the next couple slides, is going the other way a little bit. So we are starting to attract more of a first time in college type student, which is more residential, more want lunch while they're here, more, part of our campus. So we got to start thinking that way. The good news is, while we've increased, look at what's happened with our academic quality. Nothing. It's good. It's actually creeped up over time. We have good, solid academic quality students, even as we're growing. If we look at our first generation, we're still serving that student demographic that we are proud of serving. It's staying strong. Our diversity of the student body is staying really strong. All those indicators are not falling off because we're getting larger. That's the good news. Now, if you look at transfers, it's not quite the same. The two-year transfer population is decreasing. Part of that's because of the economy. The two-year enrollment is more a factor of the economy. If the economy gets bad, people go back to school. If it gets good, they leave school. So it's going down. It's getting harder and harder. You can talk to Carl or Mintha about that. It's getting more and more difficult to work on that population and get them to come here. The number of applications are less. Therefore, the number of admits are less. Therefore, the number that actually signed up and came is less. But we had the strong first-timers, so our enrollment grew by 3.7%. So again, the quality of these students is not decreasing. You can see, really strong, really strong. The first-gen status of these students is still really strong, and the diversity of these students is strong. So because of all those, the bottom line, and this is what Carl told the regents, is for us at UW-Tacoma to continue to attract a diverse student body is good. It's solid. The profile, as I said, is still strong. Outreach strategy continues to be a priority for us. I heard yesterday, listen to what I heard yesterday. This was our county exec, Bruce Danmeyer, was at the PCC meeting I was talking about earlier. He's noticed that in King County, the percent of people that have at least a two-year degree is 59.7%. Great for King County. Thurston County, just south of us, 46.2. It falls off quite a bit. Kitsap County, out mostly on the peninsula, 43.4. Snohomish County, that's north of King County, right? The one north of King County, 42.9. And then Pierce County, you want to hear this one? 37.5. So we are significantly below all the counties around us. We've improved. The good news is we've improved. When I first got here, I read where we were 23-something in the 2010 census. So we've improved. But if we could just move up to the closest one, Snohomish, which is 42.9, that would be 40,000 additional people. So I think there is still a market for this kind of work that Carl and his people have been doing. And they will continue to do that. That's our bread and butter, and that's kind of in our fabric of this campus. But I think we should do this. I think we should work on a strategy to get more students from our neighboring states. Now that we are more of a first-time school, not so much a commuter, we're still a commuter campus, but we're getting capabilities, minimal, but we're starting to get capabilities to be more a residential campus. We should maybe recruit to some of these closer states, or maybe we could have a go-to state. Maybe, for instance, Rhode Island would like to come here, or Ohio. Illinois, where I grew up, I could go back and tell my cousins to come here. And also proactively pursue our international student population. We have great graduate programs. We have a Milgard School, a School of Engineering Technology that could recruit easily into international populations. However, we don't want to recruit them here without putting the services in place. And Mentha and her team and the international, our Office of Global Affairs, everybody would want to make sure we're prepared for that. But I'm going to push the campus towards working on this, and they've already been pushed, and they are working on this, so we're going to put together a strategy to look at the future. But along with that, then we got to think about this. And I'll be done in just a second. We got to think about getting our campus ready. So this is like a very brief artist conception of the new Academic Innovation Building. This is science, TPS, the grand staircase. Pinkerton, it's kind of big for Pinkerton, but I think that's supposed to be Pinkerton. Oh, that's another bit. This is Pinkerton, right? This is Pinkerton. This is Court 17. Okay, so the Academic Innovation Building would be something like this, or something like this, or something like this turned around. We don't know what it would be, but it's going to be somewhere in this space right here. The Y would be right up there. This is the Swiss. Okay, so it's going to be somewhere there. So what I tried to do is just block out that space. I don't know where that building's going to be. But if you look, we've developed this in this little corner here. There's Court 17 and the Y. I want to, under my leadership, work on developing, the bottom 2/3 or 3/5 of campus. So we got that project going. We have a couple of offers that we've made. I missed one up here. We made an offer on that property about 2 weeks ago, and we lost. Somebody else got that property. That's okay. It's pretty far from our development. This property came for sale a couple of weeks ago, so we had to get that, and we're close. We made an offer. We submitted a letter of intent to purchase that property right there, and our letter of intent was accepted, but there's, due process that has to take place. So I want to make sure we have the capabilities of expanding this part of the campus. We also want to have a second residence hall project. And I've been working on that with Mentha and Bonnie and Kathleen. Several people have been working on that. We don't know where it would be. A logical place is close to the other one, close to the Y. We have no idea how big it would be. I just call it Court 17, Phase 2. Who knows? We probably wouldn't call it Court 17 because that's the number of the place, but we'd call it something. No, we wouldn't call it Tioga. Bernier Hall. Who knows what we'd call it? Anyway, another residence hall project. Also, we need to do something with the old Tioga. It's in disrepair. We put a project forward about 1.5 years ago. It was denied because they didn't want to loan us the money at the time. So we got to do something with that. Obviously, we got to do something with the rest of the Swiss. And what's the thing attached to the Swiss? Wilds, the Wilds building. All of that space on the second and third floor is vacant. It's got spiders and things in there. It's really a shame, but it's very expensive also, and you have to make it seismically sound. So I would like to work on those. And then, of course, we have our giant project that we talked about last Wednesday, I think in this room, with Snoqualmie and Tioga. So all this needs to be figured out, and we need to deploy the rest of this part of the campus to get ready for those 6,000 students and then 7,000 students. So that's kind of what I want to talk about. And then I want to remind you of 2 events. It's not too early to make your reservations for the Martin Luther King Breakfast in January. And then also, is it tomorrow? Yes, tomorrow is the breakfast in here, right? In here. We're doing a little bit different format, so come to the breakfast tomorrow. Okay. Questions? What's the trophy? What is the trophy? That's the trophy whoever wins the combined fund drive. And it says Bothell, Tacoma, Bothell, Tacoma, Bothell, 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 Tacoma, Bothell, Tacoma. So we want to keep it here. It's in the Chancellor's office. Is Colleen in the room? You are? Are we winning? Or do we know yet?
Indications are that it's in here, but they won't tell us officially until March.
Okay, they won't tell us. And what are you thinking, or can you say what you're thinking? You're thinking...
The indications were good that we're going to...
Okay, keep that a secret. Any questions?
So,
yes.
With the plans with potentially having 6,000 students
Yes.
in 3 years in the plan for growth, what is the plan for parking? I keep hearing, oh, it's too expensive, but it's not going to get any cheaper to build parking.
Right. Well, this property right here was key because we have a plan. There's going to be a new paved lot right here, but now since we lost that property, I believe the parking lot will be on this side and this side. So that's a step in the direction. That parking lot obviously will not hold 700 students, but if we have 700 more students won't drive their car here every day. Our students come from a variety of ways.
A lot of rural areas try to come here too.
Yes.
Showing public
Yes. Did you want to make a, okay, yes. Well, Ty, who's sitting in front of you, is aware of that, and he is working on the time. That's the biggest issue we have on campus is the parking issue. And in an urban campus, it's almost impossible to solve. What you have to do is make arrangements for additional parking, but you also got to work really hard to get less people to drive to work. And I'm as guilty as any of you. I drive to work every day. But anything we can do to lessen the number of people that come to provide more public transportation is positive. Thank you for reminding us of that. Yes. Question? Over here.
Hi. Can you provide some more detail on the right-sizing initiatives from the budget slide?
On the what?
The right-sizing initiatives?
Yes. I'll try to do my best, and Ty can jump in if he's not satisfied with my explanation. Well, the way budgeting has been done on this campus for the past, I don't know how long, maybe decade, was, what do you call it when you have a budget and then you just add? Incremental budgeting. And we had a couple of our schools that had extremely rapid growth. The Milgard had rapid growth, SET had rapid growth, and when those grow, SIS grows because they're providing math, science, biology, and when we got our new major in biomedical sciences. So those schools have had rapid growth, but we've had this tiny incremental additions. So those schools had to be right-sized. We couldn't let the School of Engineering and Technology run a deficit every year and hope that somebody covered it up at the end of the year. Not covered it up, that sounds horrible. Made it good, because we do have a reserve, money that's not budgeted. So what we've done this year is we've taken the schools that were in the worst financial condition, not because of any management they were doing, but because of the student growth that wasn't being compensated with additional budget, and right-sized those schools. That took a chunk of our new income that we had from increased enrollments to actually right-size those schools and put that money where the students were coming to. So that's what right-sizing was. I don't know if that's a good term. We made their budgets whole. Anything else you wanted to add to that, Ty? Okay. Are you in one of those schools? Oh, no. Oh, from the library, okay. Jim.
Hi there. My question actually has to do with the transfer students. So I'm concerned, obviously, with the transfer rate going down. I know that a lot of our transfer institutions are not doing particularly well, but I'm also wondering how their offering of four-year degrees is actually affecting our enrollments, as well as I don't hear much about reaching out to our transfer institutions much anymore. We used to do a lot of that. We did a lot of programs that were funded by the Chancellor's office to actually do collaborations with faculty at those institutions, because that's actually how we got students, is faculty knew who we were. So I think, and then we had faculty connections. So I'm wondering about sort of the plans for actual recruiting with the community colleges.
Well, if you go to that slide, we've added our third joint recruiter. We had one at TCC in Pierce, and we've added one at Highline. So we are active in doing that. As far as the faculty-to-faculty interactions, I'm not that aware. I became a little bit of aware with SET as we brought a consultant in last year to look to make sure that there was a demand for mechanical and civil engineering. I learned that there was considerable interactions between our faculty and electrical engineering at the other schools. But Jill, can you answer that, or anybody else in the room answer that particular question? Put her on the spot here.
I was looking to see if Carl was still here, because he could probably provide better data. Right now, there's not a ton of graduates yet, because most of those four-year applied baccalaureate degrees are small and new. I guess it is a significant threat for us to be concerned about. However, there are some early indications that it's not sort of a sweep where students say, well, I can just stay here to get my bachelor's degree. Students are still interested in coming to UW for degrees. And so the connections between us do still matter. It is less expensive to get the applied degree at the two-year institution, and it is a baccalaureate degree. There are questions about the acceptability of those degrees in some places for further graduate study, if that's a student's intention. I think there probably are interesting questions to explore around if their faculties at community colleges are excited about offering new applied baccalaureate degrees, will they remain equally excited about partnering with us to send students to us rather than keeping them themselves when they have for 5 years been experiencing pretty significant declines in their student populations? So all of that remains to be seen, and the only way to find out is to create the interaction. So I think your point's a good one.
And just a plug, there's every year admissions and university advising and the major advisors do a transfer advisor information day. One of the requests from that was to have more faculty involvement. I know Joyce, for example, participated last year. And one of the things I was asked to do is to try and drum up more faculty interest in getting involved in that transfer day. So for those of you who are faculty or otherwise who are interested in being involved, we're working on identifying a date. But once we have that date identified, a few of us will probably be poking at you for involvement.
And Jim, we're open to other ideas because I think that as the numbers decrease a little bit, we want to keep that strong. Those students, that's part of our mission, is to offer a place for those students who may be place-bound. Maybe that's why they're at Pierce or TCC or Green River, because they can't go that far north or out to Pullman, Washington. So anything we can do to increase those pathways. And I think faculty to faculty is a really good way to do it because those students are in those faculty members' classes. They may or may not go down to advisor's office, but they have to go to class if they're going to pass.
Hi,
Yes.
This is Rita from SAM SIS, and follow up from Jim questions. So some of the math faculty, we went to a conference, community college conference in the spring, and then what we heard from them is some of the comments are they haven't heard anything from our students. So they transfer their students to our school, but they don't have any information about how the students doing, or they don't have any connections after their students transfer to us. So that's maybe something that we can do, give them some information about how their students doing. So that's
Yeah, that would be a relatively easy fix, is to put some material together on progress of students, some highlights. Good idea, thank you. Anything else? Well, hopefully I will see many of you at the holiday breakfast tomorrow, and if not, I hope you have a wonderful holiday rest. But come back, we need you all here. So thank you all.